Okay, now we're going to do these three things here. We're going to create a text file, an empty text file in Windows. We're going to copy and paste the public key data, Windows only, and then rename the public key with Windows only. With Linux, you don't have to do this. There's something about carriage returns. That's why you have to do this with Windows. So let's get started. We'll get this out of the way. And we're going to create a new file. It's going to be a text document. And we're going to call it just right .text. And we're going to hit enter to save that. So now we have an empty file, 0 kilobytes in it. We're going to open up just right. We're going to open it with Notepad. We're going to copy this whole entire key. Right click and copy. We're going to close Notepad. And we're going to open this guy up. Open him with Notepad. I'm going to right click and paste. And this fixes all the line feeds and carriage return problems that are different between Windows and Linux. Save that. So now we have a just right text, which has the same public key in it. We're going to delete the just right pub. Delete that. And we're going to rename the just right text to pub. It's going to question that. It's going to say, are you sure you want to do this? And we're going to say, yes, we definitely want to do that. What we've done, we've taken the Windows file, justright.txt, that was empty, and we filled it with the contents of the justright.pub file, which is the public key for our router. It has to do with carriage returns and line feeds, and now carriage returns and line feeds will work properly under this .pub file name. So we're ready to move on. Go to our files folder. In here, we're going to upload just right pub. Notice now it's listed here just right pub. With Windows, you can simply open up the folder where it is. You can just drag it and drop it on here. Now it'll be on there twice. It just wrote over the old one with the same name. So you either drag and drop it, or you can copy and paste, or you can upload based on what operating system you were running from. So we now have the just right pub file installed on the router. We're almost finished here. We have to now associate this public key on the router, this just right pub. Have to associate that key with the username. That way that user has to have this key or they can't access the router configuration. So let's go over here to System, come down here to Users. Notice we have one user here. Let's do it. That's the only user we have. And we're going to associate keys with that user. So this private keys has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Don't worry about that. We're going to do the SSH keys. We're going to import an SSH key. That means import it to the user account. So the users do it. The key file is going to be just right pub. And the passphrase, you're telling it the passphrase right now so it will remember it. So the passphrase is that. I'll leave this blank. So we're going to import this SSH key now. So now you notice under SSH keys, it's an RSA key, and the user do it has it. If you just go to users, you can't tell there's a key involved. You only know if there's a key involved if you do the SSH keys list of users. So right now we have one user using this SSH key, and we've completed that step. I added another step here. We're going to test the SSH no key login and make sure it does not work. It shouldn't work because you should have a key requirement for that username. So let's give it a try and see what happens. We select our do it, load that up. It has no key assigned to it, no private key. So go ahead and open the router and notice, oh, it looks like it's working. So I put in my password, but it's not working. Access is denied. That's because it has to have a key for Putty to connect to the router now. So that's one issue I wanted to point out. So next we're going to assign a private key to Putty for this same device. So we bring up a fresh Putty. We select do it. We load do it. Now we go over here to SSH. We click on that. And authority. The authority, this private key, is your authority. So you browse wherever your private key is located. Like I say, it should be stored in a secure place. Mine isn't. But that's just the way it is. So you select that private key. And now we have that private key associated with this account on Putty. So we go back up to the top to session again. We're going to save this again because now it has a key associated with it. And we're going to say always close on exit. We're going to save it again. Now when we open the router, notice it wants the passphrase for your private key. And my passphrase is that. I hit enter. And now we have a terminal on the router, a secure SSH terminal, which required no password to log in, but it did require a passphrase. So this has double security. First of all, they have to have the key file, the private key file. And second of all, they have to have the passphrase that's associated with that key file. And they have to have the username, which associates with that. So they need three things to break into your router now. And it's much less likely that it will ever happen. I want to point out that if you have another user on your router, and this user does not have an SSH key, guess what? You just defeated your whole purpose of having SSH keys. Because someone can hack another user by hacking their password and get access to your router configuration. So never leave any users enabled that don't have an SSH key when you go to in-service mode of operation. So it's best to either disable the user or remove it. In this case, I just removed it. Okay, let's take a look at files for a moment. With files here, we can create backups. Right, here's a backup button. So I say I want to back up the system the way it is right now. And you give it a name, and you can password and protect it if you want to, but you don't have to. So I just want to show there's a backup concept here. Let's look at our system for a moment. IP services. Notice right now Winbox is active. So it's enabled, I should say. So Winbox works, so we can get into Winbox. Let's turn off these other things. We don't really need them. It's already off. We need SSH is all we need. So we're going to turn off Winbox. Now we're going to back up the system. We're going to call it in service backup. We're not going to password protect it. You can if you want to. It's on your router that is secure. So we're going to back it up. Now we have an in-service backup where Winbox is disabled. So now let's go over here and enable Winbox. And we'll enable Winbox. Now we'll do a backup called a maintenance backup. Maintenance backup. So now if you ever lose your key file and the router's running an in-service mode, you lose your key file, you can always reset the router back to factory default, come back here and reload the maintenance backup, and now you've got all your configuration data back again, and you can access it with Winbox to modify it. So that's the whole concept here. Have these different backups so that you can back it up from a factory reset if you get locked out for whatever reason.